Rehab with me. Hi, my name's Lauren. Rehab a vintage LL Bean backpack with me. I am going to clean up the leather, the interior, and re-wax the canvas. For a project like this, it will be helpful to have a basic leather care cleaning kit on hand. I am using canvas wax and baby wipes. The first step, I'm just giving my backpack a general wipe down. I did notice that the baby wipes were leaving like a white film on the backpack, just some debris. So I used the buff brush just to brush it off because I didn't want anything on the canvas when I was waxing it. I did notice the inside of the lining was a little dirty. It wasn't too bad, but I'm using Castile soap diluted in water to just give it a quick wipe down. We're not sudsing anything too much, nothing's getting too wet. I can't flip this bag inside out, so I don't want to get it too saturated. But a general clean down was called for, so I went ahead and did it. Now I'm going to address all of the leather on the bag. It does seem a little dry, so I'm using some saddle soap and water and just cleaning all the leather surfaces and then giving them a good wipe down. I want to pay attention to the piping on this bag. None of the leather is torn or ripped or rotted, which is a really good thing. However, the piping in general is just a thinner leather, so I want to make sure everything is clean and hydrated and then conditioned. So the last step is to add leather conditioner to all of the leather that we just cleaned with the saddle soap. I'm using the Big 4, a very small amount, and just rubbing it into all of the leather. And once everything is nice and saturated with the conditioner, we will let that sit, and I'm going to move on to waxing the bag. This is the first time I've ever done this. I chose to go with this larger bar just for ease of holding it in my hand, which ultimately I think was the right choice. This was very easy for me to do. So what I'm doing is I'm heating up the wax bar first so it just gets soft. And then I'm rubbing it across the entire surface of the bag, working section by section. And once the entire bag is covered well enough in the wax, I take the blow dryer and run it across the surface, and you can really see it just melt into the fabric. At first, it kind of has a color and a shine to it. You can see it sitting onto the top of the fabric. And then once you hit it with the blow dryer, you can really see it just seep into it. And then the fabric no longer has that shine to it. So what I found worked best for me was I did an initial layer, and then I got everything saturated and covered. And while the bag was still warm, while the fabric was still warm, I went ahead and did a second coat. You can really tell the parts that are lighter and don't really stay saturated. And it's easy to just go over those a second time just so the bag looks uniform and I make sure that I've gotten everything. One step that I don't think I've mentioned yet is wiping down the bag afterwards. It's not always necessary. I found wax kind of built up on the rougher surfaces and along like these seams. And so once I hit it with the blow dryer and it seeped in, if there was some sitting on top or some that didn't quite go in the seams of the bag, I just wiped them down. Another thing that I didn't quite film was getting little shavings with my thumbnail of the beeswax, and I was able to get it nice and warm and loose and rub it into the places, especially around the leather where the bar didn't necessarily get. That worked really well for me. The last step is going to be buffing out the leather that you had conditioned previously. And this is really to knock off any excess conditioner left on the bag and reintroduce some of the oils into the leather. This is a quick side-by-side comparison of where we started, and this is the bag in daylight. My husband really loves it. I'm glad we decided to go this route versus buying him a new backpack. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful, and I'll catch you on the next.